So yeah, I'm a clone, which means I've got lots of brothers. And, well, we didn't have much growing up, implanted memories and skills and all that stuff. But you gotta remember, we're the clones of Boba Fett's dad. I wonder if that gives Boba Fett daddy issues. Might explain the whole strong silent type thing. Sometimes these things come to me.
Hey, I have another episode in the can. Isn't that awesome? I'm awesome. And, okay, I'm apparently a crazy person. Pay me no mind, really. So, this episode, I'm going to be talking about the wonderful world of television. I am not a big TV viewer, honestly. I do watch my shows, but what I don't do is the background noise TV. I don't I don't turn it on and then like go off to do something else. I either do something or I'm watching TV. I don't do both as a general rule. Every once in a while I'll put on like a web video that is something that I can deal with just the audio while I work on something like Tech News Today from Twit Network or something like that. But for the most part, not really a veg out, turn on the TV kind of guy. I like to be actively involved in the shows that I do watch. And that, I think, marks a difference between me and some of my family, certainly, and a number of my friends, I guess. Now, the other thing is, my preference is to be a cord cutter. That's to say that I would prefer not to watch it on cable. I would rather watch it on Hulu or Amazon.com, Amazon Prime or Netflix or any number of other locations than watch it on cable. Uh, I know, it's weird. We can deal with the fact that it's weird, I guess. Except it's not that weird anymore. It used to be weird. It used to be kind of a, well, that's odd. All right, well, whatever. Nowadays, there are a lot of people who are cutting cords. That is my basic instinct to do. I'm in a situation now where I have access to cable, whether I wanted it or not, and I do occasionally avail myself of it. But for the most part, I tend to watch things on Hulu or other streaming services. Now, I have a lot of shows that I am fond of, some of which no longer exist. You know, I'm a brown coat, like a lot of people. I loved Buffy. I loved Battlestar Galactica and all that. But I'm going to talk mainly this time about some shows that I've been watching lately. And as the shows that I like maybe come back on the air, I might talk about them then. And I might go and talk about, some shows that I've loved for years and don't get to talk about much. But right now, I'm going to talk about shows I've been watching lately. Let's see. Let's start with Arrow, because why not? Arrow is a lot of fun. It is a comic book based TV show, which basically means I'll at least check it out to begin with, because all things comic book being a thing for me. And I didn't have high expectations, honestly, when I went in. Part of the reason I didn't have high expectations is I liked Smallville, and they had a Green Arrow character on Smallville. And I really, really actually kind of liked that character on Smallville. So when they said they were going to do an Arrow show, I was like, yay! And then they announced that it wasn't going to have that guy, and it really wasn't going to be in any way related to Smallville or that character from Smallville. I wasn't exactly thrilled. And the handsome guy that was all dark and brooding, and was like, well, dark and brooding, that's not really Green Arrow to me. He's the seasoned bleeding heart character from DC. And I was dubious. I'll admit it. The first season was really, really actually pretty good. There are a few missteps here and there. It has a little too much WB in it, but or not WB, but CW. Used to be WB. Wow. I'm going to remember that, and later on, when kids are like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm just going to feel like an old man. Just going to say that up front. But, anyways, first season was awesome. It hit a lot of the notes that the comic book fans are going to love, but not being slavish to it, and not giving too much fan service. It was just the right mix of its own thing and being respectful and tied to the original material about the character of Green Arrow, who I'm a big fan of. Archer characters in comics, I'm kind of a nut. I love them. I love Hawkeye. I love Green Arrow. And I'm not sure why. Honestly, I like playing archers. There's something about archery that's kind of awesome in a way that's hard to pin down. Playing an archer at a LARP, I learned one thing. To be really good at shooting, you actually have to be calm. It's kind of the opposite of when you're fighting with the boffer weapons. Tap, 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 tap. No. Because you have to be hyped up and energy and bouncy, and I'm going to, pop that shot in and talk to that. To be good archer, you have to sort of zen out. You have to be calm. Also, I think there's something about the use of a bow in an age where firearms are a thing that harkens back to a tradition that we haven't forgotten was cool, but we sort of put it aside. It's like watching fencing. Nobody fences anymore because their life depends on it. Nobody uses a sword daily as a means of personal offense. Not generally, anyway. There are some rather strange exceptions to that rule. But it's the same with the bow. People go bow hunting every once in a while because, they're bored, I guess. But outside of some of the more extreme places in the wilderness where there are a few indigenous people left, very few people use a bow in day-to-day sort of defense work. There aren't a whole lot of soldiers on the battlefield using bows to fight wars. There aren't cops wandering the countryside with bows, hunting bandits. It's not something we do anymore. But we sort of remember it. We sort of think about it. We have Robin Hood. It's a thing that we talk about from time to time. And Arrow is based in that tradition. The Green Arrow character is very much about that. Wow. I spent a lot of time talking about that. Anyways, Arrow's fun. I recommend it. The second season has been even better than the first. And I am a huge fan of Felicity on that show. And Diggle. Diggle is amazing. And he is not anyone's sidekick. Oh my, no. He is his own badass. And you kind of have to respect that. Right, moving on. What other shows am I watching right now? Well, I recently started watching Almost Human, which is surprisingly good. This is a concept that got used before in television. There have been a couple of shows over the years where it's here's the robot and his human partner. Let's see the wacky hijinks that roll out of that. Except this one's different. The writing is a little better than above par, and is getting better, as I can tell, as it goes along. And the cast is really solid. They are all good actors, and they don't melodrama it too much. It's hard to explain how it's different, but it is. It's well written. It's very cyberpunkish. Very much dealing with sort of transhumanist themes and the fear of the future, and I really dig it. And I think you will dig it too if you're a sci-fi fan. You should definitely check it out. What else am I doing? Once Upon a Time. Yeah, I know. It's silly. It is. It's goofy. It's very goofy. But I can't help it. The characters are so damn interesting and fun to watch. Rumpelstiltskin is amazing. Oh my. They have done such wonderful things with that character. They have little Easter eggs for people who are big Disney fans in it, throughout it. You don't have to be a big Disney fan to enjoy it, though. The storytelling is well done. They have a sense of rules to the magic that they use, which is nice. Sometimes shows with magic, they don't really feel like they have their rules figured out, and it feels like this one has its rules relatively figured out. And that little detail can be important in the writing. The actors are good, and the villains are marvelous. And Peter Pan is the creepiest villain of them all, because there is nothing creepier, I think. I'm not a parent, but if I were a parent, there would be nothing creepier to me than the idea of an entity whose entire milieu, his entire thing, is stealing children from people by playing on the child's dissatisfaction with life and dissatisfaction with their parents to a certain extent, and taking those children away. He is far creepier than most of the other evil things that you've run into on the show. Really, he is. I watched Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, and it's okay. It's not as awesome, but it's okay. It's worth watching. I love the villain of Jafar. I love everything about him. I love the actor, who's the guy who played Saeed on Lost, and he's amazing. I don't really love his costuming a lot of the time, but I love the character, and he is about 80% of why I still watch the show, honestly. Let's see, what else am I watching? I've been watching... So, Vampire Diaries is the thing. I keep saying that, don't I? Why do I keep saying that? It's a thing. Vampire Diaries. Right. So, Vampire Diaries is a really silly concept for a show that is really well executed. It is based off of a series of books that I have not read, nor do I intend to, about an adolescent girl who has to choose between her two potential vampire lovers, and it sounds dumb. It does. It sounds like a Twilight ripoff. But here's the thing. The show is well written. It is well paced. It's one of the best paced shows on television. The characters are interesting. They're not afraid to go to dark places. And the ability to sort of reinvent itself over and over again is very much part of the DNA of the show. Now, I like this show. I love its spin-off, The Originals. Part of it is the gamer in me. I am an old school World of Darkness player. I was in the cam. I played, Vampire and everything pretty much from the day it was released. I am kind of a nerd for it. So The Originals is a spin-off about the first vampires, the family of the first vampires, living in New Orleans. They have to deal with the political machinations of those people who came after them when they left New Orleans. They once ruled New Orleans, and then they had to run away, and they came back. And now there are, vampires that are there that rose up after them, and they have to deal with the sort of fallout of their coming back. It's amazing. It's the main characters are not good guys generally, or at least not in any modern sense. They have elements about them that are on the good side, but they are decidedly in the anti-hero category. Klaus, who is mostly the main character, the focus of the show to a certain extent, is a hybrid vampire werewolf. Again, silly concept, really silly concept, and yet they managed to execute it in such a way that you don't mind. And he is his own worst enemy. He is so filled with spite and paranoia and rage against the world in general, and he is delightfully British. And then there is his brother, who is sort of a good guy, Elijah. He's kind of a good guy. He's at least honorable. But on the other hand, if he decides that you're a threat, he will kill an entire room full of people to get to you. And not even blink about it. He will forgive his brother, going on massacres, throughout the world. He might chastise him. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. But he won't do anything about it. Their morality is deeply skewed by having 1,000 years of having no one to be able to tell them no. And it's kind of interesting to see how the writers lay that out. And then there's the sister Rebecca, who is perpetually kind of a spoiled teenager. She wants what she wants, even if it's bad for her. And, she's not kitten-eating evil, but she's perfectly willing to kill people for what she wants. She has no problem with that at all. No remorse. And yet, despite the fact that these people are essentially evil by modern standards, I find them deeply compelling to watch. And I can't really explain that. It's something that's true. I'm going to wrap up my talk here about TV shows I'm watching with one final show. I'm going to talk about Sleepy Hollow, which is absolutely silly. It is a silly, silly show, but it's so much fun. Oh my. You have, Headless Horseman, who is also a horseman of the apocalypse. You have Ichabod Crane running around in the 20th century. You have Hessian mercenaries that are still around like some sort of strange cult. The Masons show up. Of course the Masons show up. There is a conspiracy involved. The Masons have to show up somewhere. Why would they not show up? It is ridiculous, and it is so much fun. Oh my! They have a Sin Eater show up, and it's played by John Noble, the guy who played Walter Bishop from Fringe, and he is so awesome. I can never get enough of John Noble, honestly. He's super neat. Oh, I lied! There is another show that I watch that I will talk about before I wrap this up, and that is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I will confess the first few episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were a little disappointing. And I have a common theory that disappointment is worse than bad. Just bad is occasionally forgivable. Being disappointing is worse because you have the higher expectation and then they don't hit it. They fall well below it. And so I was really kind of bummed about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the first few episodes. They got better. They have improved steadily since about the fourth episode on. And now they're actually a fairly decent show that I have hopes for. They've already, got a full season by. I'm looking forward to seeing where the season goes. Coulson is amazing. I love Fitzsimmons. I don't much care for the character of Skye yet. She just doesn't do anything for me. Agent Ward is a piece of cardboard with a gun. I still don't like him. I just don't. I would like to like him. I really would, but they really haven't given me a reason to like him. But the stories are getting better. They're getting more interesting, and once they started to get more into the meta plot for the season, the overarching plot for the season became more interesting. And I think if they concentrate more on that, it will probably be a better show. That, and once Joss stops working on the Avengers 2 and has time to devote to the show, it might get better still. But there was a point where it was on the edge of me going, yeah, I'm done. And they've gotten past that point, and I'm not done yet. Take with that what you will. Anyways, those are the shows I've been watching lately. There are others that I'm forgetting. And there are definitely some shows that are on hiatus that I watch. That I'll talk about when they come back off of hiatus, like Continuum. Oh, Continuum. How is it that you are that awesome and still making it on TV? I do watch Persons of Interest. I forgot to talk about it. I'll talk about it in a later episode. It's really one of my favorite TV shows, actually, but it doesn't fall in with quite the same way as the others, I guess. I watch Hannibal and a few other things. Definitely a bunch of shows that I enjoy a great deal. But they're scattered throughout. I've dropped a lot of shows. I've tried to cut back, actually. Every once in a while, somebody will come out with something, and I'll be like, ooh, okay, yeah, I'll add that. Almost Human was like that. I resisted, and then I watched the pilot, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's good. All right, damn it, I guess I'll have to add that. So, that's where I'm at on that. I'm going to wrap this up. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out my Tumblr, the basics of the game on Tumblr. Be sure to check me out on Google+. Subscribe. Yeah, I said subscribe, didn't I? Yeah. Like the video. That'd be cool. Liking the video would be awesome. I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Wow. I've been running longer these times, haven't I? Okay.